twice per century. So what we are seeing now is certainly going to be something we talk about for a very long time, probably for the next 100 years. All right, the Arctic outbreak. Here's how it all breaks down. Today and tomorrow, cloudy and cold. We've got that patchy ice to the north. We had that 13-car pileup up there in Montgomery County near Magnolia earlier today due to some patchy ice, and that's a little concerning because the computer models consistently are running 3 to 5 degrees too warm. And that means we saw those temperatures drop down to freezing a little bit unexpectedly last night, which caused some of those bridges to freeze up in Montgomery County. Now, things get worse as we head into Sunday and Monday. We're talking about a high-impact winter storm. We're talking about an ice storm, perhaps changing over to snow. That means we're looking at maybe up to about a ½ inch of ice. And what that does, it's going to cause all the trees to kind of cave over like this and snap. It's also going to bring down power lines. That means a lot of us are going to be without power as temperatures drop to the lowest levels we've seen in at least 32 years. And maybe even the lowest temperatures we have ever seen here in southeast Texas. So certainly very dangerous cold. And wait till you see the feels like numbers. We're talking about temperatures exceeding 10 below zero here in parts of southeast Texas. Now, that's when the historic cold moves in, is going to be on Tuesday morning, something that we're going to want to prepare for. And most people are certainly in a high prep mode as we speak. Now, as we take a look at the winter storm watches and warnings, most of North Texas and Central Texas now under that winter storm watch. And we do anticipate that winter storm watch will be expanded south and east to include every single county in southeast Texas, perhaps as far south as Corpus Christi, including San Antonio and Austin, maybe out towards Del Rio as well. So not only are we dealing with a very cold air mass, but also a very wintry one, bringing widespread ice and snow to the state of Texas. The cold air continues to filter on in. It's 11 below zero right now up there in International Falls, 7 below zero in Billings, the same in Casper. It's 4 above in Denver, and you can see that cold air continue just to slide right down into the state of Texas. I mean, straight down. That is something you don't see very often. Normally what happens is that cold air comes in and moves sort of off towards Nashville and Atlanta, but this time it is going straight down to the Rio Grande, and we are right in the bullseye as far as the trajectory of the colder air mass. Look at Dallas, 25 degrees right now. They have been they've been below 30 degrees for the last 36 hours, and it does not appear that they're going to get any warmer anytime soon. In fact, their high temperatures on Monday may only reach the middle teens for daytime highs. Something, again, just absolutely stunning for this type for this latitude here in the country. Take a look at the temperatures across Canada. 15, 18, 20 below zero, and all of that air mass is going to continue to sink down to the south and only moderate a very tiny bit by the time it makes its way into Texas. The Arctic front, one of several, has already cleared the coast. You can see temperatures today have been stuck in the 30s. Here at 2 o'clock, we're at 38 degrees at Bush Airport, 42 degrees at Hobby, and 40 degrees in Sugar Land. And again, I think temperatures are about that way as we head into your Saturday, and they only get colder as we head into Sunday. And then the bottom falls out as we head into Monday as our next and by far the strongest Arctic front begins to work its way through the area. And that's going to plunge our daytime highs down into the low 20s here in the city of Houston, and that will rank among the coldest afternoons we have ever seen here across southeast Texas. There is your winter storm watch once again. That does include Dallas, out towards Austin, out towards San Angelo, and again, we are expecting that winter storm watch to be expanded all the way to the coast as we head into either tonight or tomorrow for a very prolific winter storm as we head into Sunday night and into Monday. Temperatures again across the state. We're at 25 now in Dallas, 19 up there in Amarillo, and you can just see the state not warming up much at all, and it only gets worse from here. In fact, as we head into Monday morning at 7 o'clock, we're talking about a temperature of 5 degrees in Dallas, 11 in Austin, 26 is where we start out here in the city of Houston. And then look what happens as we head into the afternoon. Our temperature actually drops to 23 degrees here along the upper Texas coast. It is 10 for an afternoon high there in Dallas, 16 in Austin, 20 degrees there in San Antonio. Now the bottom falls out again as we head into Tuesday morning. We're talking about low temperatures of 5 degrees below zero there in Dallas, 0 in Austin, and these are actual air temperatures. These are not feels like numbers. So again, take this in, and maybe it could be a very long time before we ever see this again. 4 below zero there in Tyler, and if we hit 7 degrees here in the city of Houston, that will tie the coldest temperature we saw back in 1989 when Bush Airport dropped to 7 degrees. And it's certainly on the table. And if we get to 5 degrees, that'll be the coldest temperature. That'll tie the coldest temperature ever recorded here in Houston. Let's talk about the ice and snow potential. It could be crippling as we head into your Monday, and that icy weather could last all the way through most of next week, thanks in part to temperatures staying below freezing for at least a couple of days. So as we take a look here heading into your Saturday, a cloudy day expected here across the region, and one thing that we're going to watch very carefully is we have a little disturbance that's going to push through, and depending on how cold those surface temperatures are, we could see a little bit of icing, maybe a little freezing rain and sleet, especially to the north of I-10 heading into Saturday and maybe into Sunday morning, something we'll continue to watch. If your travel plans take you up to Dallas, they're looking at more snow and ice up there as we head into about the noon hour on Sunday, and you'll notice how that winter storm begins to slide on into southeast Texas. By the time we get to 9:30, we are already seeing a transition over here to freezing rain and sleet into the city of Houston, and then it is game on as we head into Monday morning at 8:30. You can see most areas receiving widespread icing and or snow, and look at that. That is something you don't see very often at all. We're talking about snow about 100 miles off the coast into the central Gulf of Mexico. So certainly that gives you an indication of just how cold this air mass is. Now, we get rid of one winter storm, and now the next one is gearing up, and this one looks equally as strong as we head into Wednesday at noon. You see our precipitation once again beginning to transition back over to that pink, and maybe even some snow as we head into Thursday morning. In fact, some computer models are painting accumulating snow all the way down south of I-10. So again, we've got a 1-2 punch headed our way, plus the cold on top of that. So a very unusual and very dangerous situation, not only for driving, but just how cold it's going to be. And we're talking about wind chill values in an extreme category. Again, we could be challenging all-time lows, not just with the actual air temperature, but with those feels-like numbers as well. Here's a look at the European model. This takes us into 11:30 on Sunday. Again, the same general idea. You see that precipitation sort of switching over there to that freezing rain and sleet. I do think that we are going to start the day off with freezing rain and sleet. And one thing that Jeff Lindner was talking about in the press conference earlier with the mayor, and that is when you wake up on Monday morning and you say, well, the streets just look wet, it looks like it's just been raining. Keep in mind the surface temperatures are going to be in the mid-20s. So freezing rain is clear. It looks exactly like water. So don't be fooled if you look outside on Monday morning and say, well, it just looks like it rained. Oh, it rained, but it is frozen solid out there, and it would be a very foolish idea to try to get in your car and drive around town. As we head into Monday morning at 9 o'clock, it does appear that the European model wants to transition over to all snow, and that does take it all the way down almost to the coastal areas. So we could pick up a couple of inches, I think, as we head into your Monday evening before the precipitation finally begins to taper off. Now, here's the key to how cold we are going to get as we get into Tuesday morning. You'll notice the precipitation pushing off to the east, but there is the cloud line right there. So the clearing skies as they push on in, the more clear those skies are going to be, the lower those temperatures are going to go. Keep in mind, by this time, we should have a very healthy coating of ice and snow across Houston at that time. And when those skies clear out, the clouds act as a blanket. It keeps the somewhat warmer temperatures locked at the surface. But if those clouds clear out and you've got a bunch of ice and snow on the ground, the temperatures really begin to bottom out. So this takes us into 6 o'clock. And look at that. You see the skies briefly clear, perhaps just enough as we head into Tuesday morning to allow those temperatures to bottom out into the middle single digits. Again, that would tie an all-time record here if we hit 5 degrees in the city of Houston, and that is not off the table at this time. So as we head into Wednesday, the European model has the same general idea. Another winter storm powering up. This one perhaps maybe a little bit further to the north, and the placement of this area of low pressure is going to determine what kind of precipitation we're going to get. The European model here has that a little bit further to the north, which means you got a little bit thicker of a warm nose in the atmosphere that keeps perhaps maybe the coastal counties in all rain, while areas north of I-10 could be transitioning to sleet and snow. It's a little too far out to pin down those details, but again, I do think that we are in for a second round of ice and snow as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Take a look here at Tuesday morning. Again, this is just something you don't see here in southeast Texas. This is something you would see in Chicago, not in Houston at 30 degrees north latitude. But nonetheless, as we head into Tuesday morning, 1 is the actual air temperature forecast there in College Station, 2 in Huntsville, 4 in Conroe, 7 at Bush Intercontinental Airport. That would tie the coldest temperature they've ever recorded at the airport, set back on December 23rd, 1989. 12 in Pearland, 11 in Pasadena. But you know what? A dead plant is a dead plant, and a busted pipe is a busted pipe. It does not matter at this point whether you hit 12 or you hit 7 or you hit 1. It's all semantics at this point. It is going to be exceedingly cold and something we do not not see very often here in southeast Texas. Now, factor in that wind that is going to be roaring through here. We're talking about 25, 30 miles per hour. Strong enough that the National Weather Service in Dallas is using the word borderline blizzard conditions. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Borderline blizzard conditions expected in the Dallas area as we head into Sunday and Monday. Things apart to that strong north wind, that pure advection, pushing that cold air right down into southeast Texas. And coupled the wind with those extreme cold temperatures, we're talking about 7 below zero is what it could feel like at Bush Airport, 8 below zero in Conroe, 13 degrees below zero out there in College Station. So again, this is exceedingly dangerous. We're talking about hypothermia setting in very, very quickly. Do not be caught outside without gloves, hats, earmuffs, the whole 9 yards. I want you to think as if you were in Alaska. That's how we need to be prepared for this type of cold that's headed into Houston. Now, as far as the snowfall totals go, certainly the European model favors a very heavy winter storm. In fact, almost 10 inches there in College Station, 9 inches in Huntsville, 6 inches there in Conroe, 5 inches in Tomball, perhaps accumulating snowfall all the way down to Galveston itself. So something we're going to continue to watch. Personally, I do think that this is going to be more of an ice storm at this time for Houston, perhaps transitioning over later to a little bit of snow. But again, something that we're going to continue to watch very carefully. As we have seen over the last couple of days, the computer models are struggling with just how cold this air mass is. We know that because the temperatures have been running consistently colder than what the forecast has been spitting out. So something, again, if you're looking for snow, it is certainly in the cards. It is not off the table, and we could see quite a bit of it as well as we head into, say, the Monday time frame if the cold air is a little deeper than what computer models are currently forecasting. Now, the GFS here showing a lot more snow as well than it was earlier today, showing 6 to 8 inches here across our northern counties, maybe a dusting in our coastal, but what I think the model is picking up on here is a lot more ice versus snow. Either way, if you're watching from Galveston Island, you guys are going to freeze. We're talking about temperatures there of 20 degrees. So any precipitation that falls, even at the seawall itself, is going to be ice. We're talking about every single person in southeast Texas is going to experience wintry precipitation, but I think the closer to the seawall you are, the more likely it is it's going to be ice. The further north you are, the more likely it is to be accumulating snow. So here's how it all plans out. 40 degrees as we head into your Saturday. I do think that that's probably a generous number. I think we're going to be stuck in the 30s most of the day after a morning start of 35. 20% chance of maybe a little light freezing precipitation, especially well to the north of the Houston area. We're down to 34 for an afternoon high on Sunday. 30% chance of some freezing rain and sleet. The roads becoming dangerous as we head into Sunday night. And then we start at 28 degrees on Monday morning and we fall to 23 degrees into the afternoon. That would rank among the coldest daytime afternoon we have ever seen here in Houston, with a 90% chance of freezing rain, sleet, and snow, perhaps all three, perhaps just snow, perhaps just ice. Remains to be seen. Either way, it's going to be a very dangerous day in Houston on Monday with a temperature of 23 and heavy precipitation moving through. And look at that wind. Northwest at 30. We're talking about close to blizzard conditions as you get into central and north Texas. That's what Dallas is classifying this as, borderline blizzard conditions. So it is going to be a winter storm for the ages as we head into Monday, it looks like. Then we bottom out at 9 degrees. Now, the only reason why I put 9 on the 7 day is I was too scared to put 6 or 7. I mean, literally, that is the reason. It's almost too unbelievable to even put this on there, but nonetheless, that's what we have to go with because that's what the data is suggesting. Now, historic cold, we're talking about that cold advection coming in northwest at 30 miles an hour. We're going to drive that cold air in. As the clouds clear out, as we head into Tuesday morning and you've got all that ice and snow on the ground, that's when our temperature could hit those middle to upper single digits here in the city of Houston with a high temperature of 31 degrees. So what does that mean? Well, it means even with some sunshine here, most of that ice and snow is going to stay on the ground. Now, some of it will sublimate, some of it will melt away despite temperatures staying below freezing all day. That sunshine, man, really eats away at the ice and snow. So we will see a little bit of melting as we head into Tuesday, but not much. So what does that mean? That means Wednesday could be a very dangerous travel day across the area as well, as bridges remain frozen here across the Houston area. Just in time for our next winter storm as it pushes in as we head into Wednesday evening into early Thursday. Right now we have a 60% chance of rain changing over to ice and snow Wednesday evening. Temperatures start out at 24 on Wednesday morning, warming up only to 34, and that's a maybe. We could stay below freezing all day on Wednesday as well. We start off at 28 on Thursday morning, so another dangerous travel day here across southeast Texas as we get into the your Friday Eve is what I'm trying to think of. Your Friday Eve could start off with some AM snow showers here, and then finally that precipitation pushes on out, and that makes way for a heat wave as we head into Friday with temperatures up into the low 40s for daytime highs after a morning start of 32 degrees. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just it's the craziest 7-day forecast I have ever put together in my entire 13-year career, and certainly the most bizarre I've ever seen here in the city of Houston. But that is what we are facing, and 9 degrees may be too warm. I mean, that's the bottom line. Those are the facts. So it doesn't matter at this point. Maximum preparations need to be completed as we head into Saturday for a freeze for the ages here across southeast Texas. Again, we're talking about single digits, and if it were to occur at Bush Intercontinental Airport, and it has to happen at the big airport because that's where the official recording site is, it would be only the 5th time in the last 130 years that the city of Houston has been at single digits in southeast Texas. And it's not totally out of the question. We could be looking at temperatures below 0 up there in our northern counties. All right, we're going to continue to update the forecast as necessary. I'm going to consult with the other meteorologists that are just coming in. Chief Meteorologist David Paul is in the building, and we're going to do a little bit more studying on exactly how cold it's going to get, but either way, I don't think it matters much at this point. We are in it, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday will be very dangerous travel days across southeast Texas. All right, we'll have more coming up today at 4. I want you to stay with us. We'll see you on the TV at that time.